Hello, welcome. I'm Hannah and I'm here again to bring you a much later in the month than I would have wanted edition of randomly selecting my eyeshadows. This is the series where I draw out eyeshadows that correspond with eyeshadows I have in my collection. It makes a palette of shadows that I wouldn't have necessarily put together, of shadows that I wouldn't necessarily always reach for to use, and that way I can get some good circulation within my makeup collection and see if I really like all the stuff that I have. So without further ado, let's switch over to my hands and see what we get. So my palette from September is right here. I did use every shade, some of them more than once. It was a little bit of a challenge because I feel like recently I've just been gravitating towards interesting neutrals every day or pinks. So some of the pinks down here were very like natural to use, but I was pulled a little out of my comfort zone with these greens and the blues. I made them work. It kind of reminded me that even in like my neutral era, like shadows like Midnight Nova from Divina, still love that. Still love a yellow look, still love kind of experimenting, layering things that you might not expect, but overall, I'm excited to be done with this palette. I am going to continue using 30 pans for this month also. I just want to try to get through as many as possible. And I do have a handful of new shadows that I will favor in pulling them out. Oh, I guess the next thing I want to say is that this palette does feel very cramped and I don't love that. And for this month, I'm going to use this Hecate palette. This is from Divina, and it has this beautiful artwork on it that I really like. I have two of them. One I purchased right when they came out of it, and one I was gifted by the brand. So I have two, and this one just happens to not have, no shadows have a home in the second one at the moment. So I thought this might fit the 30 pans a little bit better than this. So we're going to try that out and see how it feels to be pulling this one out as my focus palette. So as I said, we have a handful of new ones. I have those Luxie shadows. I posted a video eye swatching. They weren't the most impressive. There were some I was excited about, but I actually don't think I've used any of them since then. And it's been like maybe 2 weeks since I filmed that, so that's interesting. And then I also have my two Shine by SD shadows that I mentioned in September, being disappointed that they weren't here yet. I had said how I placed an order for these two shadows on September 1st with express shipping because although they do tend to usually ship pretty quick, I was like, I definitely want to get these in and have them for my September video. I'm excited about them. I got my shipping notification on the 12th, and then I kept on checking it and nothing was happening. It was just like label created. So I ended up emailing them a week later on the 19th. And then about 2 hours after I emailed them, my order started moving. Like it was like received by the USPS. And then the next day they responded and they're like, oh, looks like it's moving now. Hope you get your shadows soon. So definitely won't be doing express shipping with them again, but shadows are here now, and I've used both of those, and they are nice. So I'm thinking out of the 11 new shadows I have, maybe I'll just pull 3 to start, and then I will put them in my boot, so maybe we will get some more with them. So I'm gonna pull on top of this big palette as usual, which is still empty just because I'm not gonna bother moving the old one into here yet. I'll do that some other time. Okay, so from the new shadows, let's do Luxie Burnout. I think this is the like cherry cola-y one that I liked. So that's cool. I've been excited to use that. I just, as I said, I haven't. And also just where the place where I put the Luxie shadows, they've been in this little 9-pan Tarte palette, and I just never think to reach in here because I usually don't have anything important in here. So that kind of contributes to me not using them as well. Luxie, hey, this is the one that I think quality-wise was like the second best. But it was, pretty basic gold. Pretty, but not my favorite type of shade. And then Luxie Mad Energy. This is the bluish purple one that I was wearing on my eyes in the outro. So technically that's the only one that I really have made a look with, and I think it's okay. Not too excited about it, but it's okay. Hopefully this is setting us up, though, for kind of like a grungy-ish palette. I like that in the fall. That'd be cool for October. And also, It's my birthday month. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to be doing like a birthday palette or something. I did that last year. I really liked that video, but this year I'm putting this video up pretty late. I'm also going to be away for a bunch of days leading up to my birthday. I don't know if I'm gonna have the time to do that kind of thing, but if I did, that palette would probably be more like interesting neutral, so it would be fun if this is like my grungy palette, and then that one's my more kind of like me at the moment palette. Okay, so the next shadow, Divina Tucana. This is one that I got at the end of August. I've worn it on my eyes, I think only once or twice, but I really like it. That's definitely up my alley now, like a light, interesting, pinky neutral. Divina Thalassic. This one's interesting because I got this at the end of last year, and it was before I was really in my interesting neutrals era. So it was a little bit more subtle, less shiny than I liked at the time, but I think I'm gonna like it better now. Luxie Chocolate Kiss. This is a new one. This was my favorite one from the new collection. Or was it my second favorite? I can't remember. But that was kind of like the pinky brown. I was really excited to wear all over my eyes. Dandelions Cosmetics Shortcake. This I bought at the end of August also. It's a neutral matte, and I've actually been reaching into that recently when I've been wanting a neutral matte, so that's cool. Next, Menagerie Koi. I think this is the shimmery orange. I do like that formula. It's a little bit more metallic than sparkly, but I've always enjoyed Menagerie shimmers, and I think that's one of the better Menagerie shimmers, so that's cool. Menagerie Kelp. I think this is the matte green, and it's kind of like an off-green shadow, and I like that. ColourPop Hungry Ghost. This is a beautiful multicolored glitter. I always see it when I'm looking through my palettes, kind of looking for things to declutter, because I don't use it that often, but it's so beautiful that I just never want to give it up, so that'll be fun to have in here. Divina Airglow. This is one of the Moonscape shadows, which are their very like silvery, highly metallic shadows. I don't remember specifically which one that is because they do kind of blend together in my head a little bit with a couple exceptions, but it's always fun to have one of those shadows on hand. Luxie Jelly. This one I think is kind of similar to Mad Energy. I think it's like a mid to deep bluish purple. Luxie Champagne Punch. This is from their collection last December. It's a really pretty neutral with a mauvey base, I'm pretty sure, and I'm pretty sure I've never gotten that much use out of it just because they have so many other pretty neutrals that I tend to reach for more, but I do like it. Sydney Grace, totally worth it. I think this is a purple. As I was saying last month, I can never remember which Sydney Grace shadow is which. Luxie Many Moons. This is also from their new collection, and this is the one, it was either this or Chocolate Kiss that I gave number 1, and the other one got number 2. I think Many Moons was like the prettiest formula, but it was a little bit more orange than I tend to reach for, but I am happy I'm getting so many of the new Luxie shadows in here. Divina Pixie Sticks. This is a really pretty goldish pink, really pretty shimmer formula. Cleona Empress. Oh, interesting. This is kind of similar to Pixie Sticks in a way, but definitely more of a bold pink to it, and that's a shadow that I always forget about, so I'm excited about how this palette's going right now. And also how quickly, you notice I'm just going through it, and I like this. Luxie Morning Rain. This is like a greenish, tealish color, and I know I like using it for my lower lash line. It kind of like, I think of it kind of like a satin. It might be a little bit more shimmery than other people call a satin, but I do like having it. Sydney Grace Embrace. This one I think I do know. I think that's a super light transition color, like a super light matte. And now that I'm taking a second to think, well, I guess we do have that Dandelions Cosmetics matte, but this one might be a little bit deeper, and Embrace might be particularly light, and I think it's a little pink also. Then we have Luxie Ironic, also one of the new ones. I guess I'm bad at shuffling these up. That one, I don't think I liked very much. Yeah, that was the one I swatched at the same time as Burnout, because they were both kind of mauvey, but Burnout was like the clear winner. Luxie Rocky Road. I was actually wearing this on my eyes earlier today, and I didn't love it. I don't know if it's just getting kind of old for me because that is like a Luxie OG. I've had that for so long. And I mean, it's never been as shimmery as their more recent shadows have been, but I had it all over my eyes. It's like a little bit of like a yellowy tone, which isn't really my favorite. And actually today I ended up topping it off with Cleona Chandelier. And it was an interesting look, but I don't know if I'd be repeating it. So that's something to think about. Pretties for Your Face, Thankful. This is a really pretty bronzy color. I have very mixed feelings about Pretties for Your Face, but that is probably in my top 5 shadows I've tried from them. Davina Courtney, this is a gorgeous grungy matte green. I think it's a little bit more yellow than Kelp is, but it'll be interesting to see those two together. I wonder if they work together or if they will just compete. Then we have ACD5. This is from Adept. I love how I didn't even write Adept on this because it's just like, it needs no introduction. That is such a gorgeous wet looking shadow. It's like my favorite thing I've ever bought from Adept Cosmetics, and it's a shame they don't make it anymore. They don't make any of their singles anymore, but I do hope someday they'll bring it back because it's just delightful, and I'm really excited to have that in here. Next, we have ACD11, which is an eggplant color. And this one, I'm always impressed with it when I swatch it, and which is why, like, a dark, old eggplant that can't be purchased anymore has made it so long in my collection. So that'll be fun to play with. So we have 25 already. We're gonna do 5 more. I just wanted to reflect on, like, how it's going. I think it is gonna look a little bit grungy, except we do have a couple, like, pinkish shades in here. Definitely need some inner corners though. That's what I'm hoping for in this final 5. So next, Luxie Honey Pot. This is a beautiful bronzy color also. I think it's a little bit more interesting than Thankful is. Thankful is nice because it has like a very bold formula, but I think Honey Pot is more shimmery and it is more like gold to bronze, if I'm remembering correctly. Luxie Hybrid. This is a Luxie classic also, and I also haven't reached for that in a while. It's kind of that like Cleona Grisaille type of color, that like blue-brown pigment type of color that I'm excited to pull out. Terra Moon's Flare Star. Another month with barely any Terra Moons. This is the first one. Flare Star is that like bold pink, and I wanted it so bad for a long time, and I never wear it now that I have it. I think with pinks, I do tend to enjoy them a little bit more if they're like a little bit lighter or if they're a little bit like bronzier. This was just so bold that, I don't know, something about it I don't reach for, but that'll be fun to try out. Cleona Estate. Oh, I think this is the greenish one that I'm not sure about. I can't remember if it's the darker green that I got when I bought from like their expansion last year or if it's like the lighter one with more of a brown base. I don't know. I don't think we're getting any inner corner shades though. The final shadow, Luxie Willow, another dark green. Okay, I'm not that excited about that, but I am curious to see these all together. I think like it's gonna have a look to it. Yeah, let's pull these out and see. Wait a second, was Shortcake in last month's palette? Am I losing it? Shortbread. Shortbread. What is Shortcake? Oh, I think it's the more pinky peachy one. Okay, still have to find it. False alarm. Estate is the lighter of the two that I was wondering about. There's Shortcake. Okay, so here's 29 of the 30 shadows. And it's funny that I was thinking it would look so green because it looks very like pinky, greeny neutral. And I'm really actually liking how it's looking. The only thing, no idea about Sydney Grace, totally worth it. As usual with these Cindy Gray shadows, I found where I store them, and I only saw Embrace and Meadow over there. So I don't know if this has been since decluttered. I'll have to look into that, but we have room to pull one more then, and hopefully it works in this palette. Hopefully it's an inner corner shadow. Luxie Emerald City. All right, we're upping the greenness. And actually that one's a pretty bright green, I think. Yeah, it does kind of change the tone of the palette. I'm gonna override that. I just feel like when it comes to this last edition, it feels wrong to have that jeopardize the vision. I want it to be something that like works, something I'm like a little bit excited for. Menagerie Cobra. I think this is a green shimmer also. Tarte Deep Purpley Brown Matte. Okay. I think that works. We actually don't have any deep mattes in here. And that is something that I like having an option for. Where are those Tarte shadows? Okay, I was excited for that one, but it's not where it's supposed to be, so I don't know what happened to that one. Luxie the Monarch. I don't want another shimmery brown. I'm getting ultra picky right now, but we already started. Menagerie Pack Leader. That's like a reddish bronze color. Luxie Honeydew. We already have those honey colors from Luxie. Luxie Margarita Yellow. Luxie Salted Caramel. Okay, fine. Fine, we'll do that one. This would work as an inner corner. I know it has like a greenish shimmer to it, and I feel like since recently I've been enjoying cookie dough from Luxie way more. I think salted caramel, like, I could use in really similar ways. So I do like how that looks, even though it took us a bunch of tries to randomly select that last one randomly. So, okay, I'm going to arrange these in the palette now. I don't even know if they're gonna fit, like, across correctly, but worth a shot, yeah. All right, it would have to be a little bit downturned if I want to keep it straight, but I feel like that's fine for right now. That one will just not fit. All right, that was a little bit of a toughie, but I think this does work. I went against my instinct to really go from like warm into cool because I like something about these greens next to like those mauves up there. I don't like Empress in there. I feel like that one just feels a little bit too bright or something for the grouping. But I was definitely trying to make like interesting color story decisions. And I think for the most part, it does work. Like, I like this bronze with, like, these bluish colors also and, like, hybrid in there. Yeah, I'm okay with it. Not obsessed. And I do wish they fit, like, a little bit better. But it's okay, and it's better than the Tarte palette where there's, like, no room to budge whatsoever. This, like, if I want to separate colors after I wear them, like, I have a little bit of room to, like, slide things. So I'm going to swatch all these out and we'll see how like the colors actually look together. Okay, so let's do these swatches. Full disclosure, it is not the same day as before. It's also not even the same week. And I decided to not put the effort into making sure my background looks the same or my nails look the same. It is what it is. A funny thing though, because it's been a little bit of time since I drew these, I've been using them a little bit. And one of the first shadows that I picked up to use was this one, because it looks so nice and lovely in the pan. This one's Luxie Andromeda, and I feel like that wasn't one of them. I could be totally wrong and saying all this for nothing, but like it was pretty soon after I made this palette that I used that, and I was like, did I pick this up thinking it was something else and I like didn't check the back? Which is also weird because I feel like I always check the back for the Luxie ones because sometimes they do look very similar all together. So I don't know. Deciding to not put the effort into figuring it out before I film this part. I'll see in editing if that was correct or not, if all of this whole speech is for nothing. But if you noticed that this one's different when I swatch them out, then I noticed too. And if you did not notice, perhaps that's because I'm wrong right now and I really did draw that one. Either way, this palette's still really pretty. Let's swatch it out. Luxie Salted Caramel, Sydney Grace Embrace, Adept ACD5, Dandelions Cosmetics Shortcake, Luxie Champagne Punch, Divina Pixie Sticks, Divina Tucana, Terra Moon's Flare Star, Cleona Empress, Luxie Burnout, Luxie Ironic, Adept ACD11, Luxie Andromeda, Divina Thalassic, Divina Courtney, they were out of frame when I swatched them, Menagerie Kelp, Luxie Willow, Cleona Estate, Divina Airglow, Pretty Sphere Face Thankful, Luxie Hybrid, Luxie Morning Rain, Luxie Jelly, Luxie Mad Energy, Luxie Hay, ColourPop Hungry Ghost, Luxie Many Moons. That glitter's doing its thing. Menagerie Koi, Luxie Honeypot, Luxie Chocolate Kiss. And there's our long arm of swatches. I think there is something grungy about it, something like subdued about a lot of the tones. Nothing in here is like terribly bright or on the nose, but it's still like a really interesting assortment. I quite like this. But yeah, let's switch over to my face and conclude this saga. So that's the palette. This is the palette. Let me tell you what I have on my eyes today. So for my eye look, I actually quite like it. I don't wear greens that much, but I quite like this. I used the entire green row. I started with Divina Thalassic on the inner part of my eye. It did get covered up, but like that reddish base is all from Thalassic. And then on my outer, I went in with Luxie Willow. Then I used Estate from Cleona to kind of bridge the gap, and I topped it over there. I have Divina Courtney as my crease shade. I used Menagerie Kelp on my lower lash line, and then Luxie Andromeda on the inner part of it, and then I used Willow to kind of go over on top of Kelp and add that darkness to the lower lash line. And then finally, Salted Caramel from Luxie is what I used for my inner corner. And I think it looks really nice. But that's gonna be everything. I just wanted to say quickly, I know there's been some lapse in my content. I've been pretty busy in my actual life recently, and I'm trying to figure out how to get YouTube back on my schedule. So thank you for bearing with me. I hope that this is kind of the end of my little unexpected break. I mean, I'm sure it'll happen again at some point, but for now, I think I might be back on the right track. Either way, thank you so much for being here. If you enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. It really means a lot to me. And that's everything. Bye.